Ann Salz here at the Mobile Marketing Forum in London for bnetTV and Mobile Groove. I'm speaking today with Scott Jensen, who is Head of Digital Products, VP of Digital Products at the Weather Channel. And Scott, it was a fascinating presentation because it's weather, but in a whole new way because it's now a context for mobile marketing. So why don't you tell me about it?
What's interesting is you don't necessarily think about it in the context of mobile, but weather is relevant to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're 4, it doesn't matter if you're 104. Weather plays a role in terms of how you deal with decisions you make in the start of the day. What are you going to wear? What do you bring with you? And then throughout the course of the day, as you get end of the work day, end of the work week, there are social things that you want to do, and how is weather relevant for that experience? So our view is the downstream activities, the things that people are going to do, are influenced by weather. So as we have a pretty significant audience, whether it's on the iPhone, the iPad, Android devices, any of the marketing and the contextual advertising we do tells a story. And because that story is about the weather, it's relevant to them. What's interesting about weather too is, as you might imagine, people only care about the weather that's around them. So it's inherently local. So unlike other content where you can read about it but you don't necessarily need to be there, everyone that is looking for weather content on their mobile devices wants it to be local. They want it to be relevant. They want it to be where they are at the time. So whether it's through a zip code or a local code, it's something that is relevant to them. And that creates a really tremendous opportunity, because if you know that someone is at a location precisely because they want to know about the weather, there are other opportunities. There might be, let's say, a retail opportunity, that something that could be relevant to what they want, they can go because we know that they're in New York, or we know that they're in downtown London.
I was going to say, what was fascinating, though, is how you use that as a trigger, so that I'm actually seeing a different ad when it's snowing than when it's sunny outside. And it must be just an interesting user experience, but I'm also wondering what the brands have to say about that. Maybe you can go into these scenarios, because that's certainly bringing more context to the equation.
Without question. And what we're starting to see is that you don't want to have an advertisement that is generic. We want to have dynamic logic. We want to have these weather triggers. So as you point out, it could be temperature, it could be something in terms of conditions, so if it's going to be sunny, cloudy, rainy, or snowy, and it starts to open up really creatively what you can do. So let's just say you're Dunkin' Donuts as an example, and you have this opportunity to sell folks a cool drink or a hot drink. Well, we have a weather trigger where you can actually have the ad unit based upon what the temperature is where those people are at that time. So if it's above a certain degree, you will see an ad for, hey, it's kind of cool, why don't you cool down with this new drink? If it's getting toward the lower end, 0 Celsius, how do you warm folks up? Maybe you go in and you have a hot beverage. If it's an automobile manufacturer, many opportunities for them to highlight some of the unique features of the vehicle. So as an example, with Audi, we had a weather trigger with the word snow. So when someone was in an environment where it was snowing, they could see the new Audi vehicle, which one of the features was it could handle very well in those snowy environments. So you saw the image of the car, you could see a rich media car driving through a snowy condition, which is relevant to where they are. You wouldn't want to have that ad in Southern California where it was 80 degrees and sunny, but you might want to have it in Nova Scotia where people are concerned about that particular area and what's happening with the weather conditions.
I mean, logically, it makes sense, because it would sound then, if it's more relevant and more contextual, it's also perhaps more effective. What can you share about the feedback on this, or the numbers?
Sure. I can't give you specific numbers, but what we can tell you is that it's really a combination of that engagement that we talked about, the fact that people go there every day, and they start to expect to see something. I'll give you another example that we highlighted there. It's not even just what's happening in the weather environment today, but it's also taking what people are doing on a specific mobile device at that time. So as an example, the 36-hour forecast for us tends to be where people go when they're planning their weekend. So if there's a particular event that's happening, when they go into that 36-day forecast area, you can trigger that. And to answer your question about how effective that is, we're seeing anywhere from 3, 4, in some cases as high as 21 times higher lift based upon its proximity, its relevance in terms of something that the consumers care about, and it's also something that's time sensitive. So if you know where they are, what they're doing at that particular time, you're going to get a much deeper engagement, and you're going to also have, once you have that one positive experience, we're seeing that same user then starts to become more active over time. So they start to trust, and they know that this is going to be something that's meaningful for them. It's not going to be just some generic ad. It's based upon where they are and what they're doing.
And that's a great way to get to my last question, which is basically, you're here in Europe. I understand that you're on an expansion course.
That's right.
What are you looking for? What are you hoping to make out of the event? And perhaps for our global audience, what are you looking for? How can they arrange with you to discuss while you're here in Europe?
Would love that. Again, if anyone wants to contact me, can I give my email address? So it's sjensen, Jensen, at weather.com. And to answer your question, our view is we've done some fun and innovative things in the U.S. market, but people are somewhat frustrated that you can't get the Weather Channel application outside in other territories. You can get a version of our mobile applications, but they're not optimized. They're certainly not localized in terms of languages. So our goal, starting now, as we have a new head of international, I'm building out a product team that's going to be developing things for the region in particular. So starting with Western Europe, looking at Latin America, and we're really looking for partners that want to help us grow, and we want to parlay what we've done in the U.S. market, where if you look at our unduplicated audience, it's 163 million, which is 1 out of every 2 people in the country. If we can parlay that here, I think the UK market alone is 62 million, 61, 62 million. What's nice about some of these international markets is the mobile penetration is even deeper. So in the US market, it's about 49, 50%. Here it's 60 plus. So if we can get all of those people using the Weather Channel brand, using our optimized apps, it would be fantastic for everyone.
As an expat, I'll line up for it.
Excellent.
Thank you, Scott. Good luck. For bnetTV and Mobile Groove, I'm Peggy Ann Salz.